Let's get started. Thank you for joining me for this recording, Lynn. For those of you who are watching, Lynn Dutrow is a super awesome kick-ass coach who helps high achievers, high performers, overachievers overcome their anxiety and instead turn it into a way to
a way to get back on track and as I said, into high octane fuel, high performance fuel. They turn it into an ally, something that um, helps them, but they're in control rather than letting the anxiety be in control.
exactly. So those of
Yeah.
you who are go-getters and high achievers know how lonely that journey can be, how difficult it is to acknowledge, and how crippling that anxiety can be when you're kind of carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. Lynn helps you not just get over that anxiety, but leverage it, use it as fuel, rocket fuel to get ahead.
Yes, yes, yes,
So,
yes.
Lynn, can you tell our viewers what made you sign up to work with me? Where were you at in your business at that point of time?
I was lonely myself in my business. I had gotten to this place and realized that it was time for some support. I had tried continuing to do it on my own. So like I had created a character, which actually was someone for me to hide behind. So I had become anti-anxiety. My expertise, I have a background as a therapist, as a counselor, and I had chosen anxiety as my niche. But that's still a really big niche. And I created a character, anti-anxiety. That was my branding. That was my logo. But what I was finding is that there was still a little too much whimsy to that. And I mean, I can help anybody with anxiety, but those weren't my ideal clients. My ideal clients are the high performers, the highly intelligent, overachievers, if you will, but who are stuck in the with the perfectionist, the imposter syndrome, all of those things that are hijacking and holding them back. So I had worked with coaches in the past, but what appealed to me with you is I knew it was time for me to evolve. I knew it was time to go. I think you said go from third grade to sixth grade, or at least like make an evolution, get out from behind the anti-anxiety. And what appealed to me was that what I had seen in your Facebook. I think we were in some groups together, and I looked you up. Um, I needed the tech. I knew that it was time for me to take more of my business online to reach more people. And I've had some lovely coaches in the past who really helped me with mindsets and different things, but they didn't have the tech background. They didn't have the online experience that I saw in what I read about you. So that's what I was looking for, and it just felt like we would make a good fit that way.
You covered a lot of ground in that one. Let me just dial it back a bit. When we
Okay.
started working, or when you reached out to me, you were functioning under the anti-anxiety brand, and
Mm-hmm.
you were doing mostly therapy, a mixture of therapy and coaching, and mostly
Mm-hmm.
single sessions or
Mm-hmm.
group programs where, well, let's say you didn't have the best kind of clients, the kind who were dedicated and would get results, right? And though
Yes.
you've been in the industry for 20 years, and though you're really,
Mm-hmm.
really good at what you do, somehow it was starting to feel, this is not where I want to be, and I know I'm capable of so much more, right?
Yes.
And that's when we did we pivoted your niche to
Yes, we
target. We
did.
dug it. I remember those early calls, digging it out of you. Who is your real target market? Who are the people that you can really, really support and who value your support? Not just come for
Mm-hmm.
group sessions and then not do the work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then that's when we hit upon the best people to work with you are high performers, overachievers.
Yes.
And after that, I remember there was some resistance to this pivoting.
Yes.
that
Just
that
a
some is
little.
just a little, that some resistance is a bit of an understatement. There was a lot of resistance pivoting
Yes.
because you've been in business for over 20 years, right? And you've
Yes.
established a name for yourself as anti-anxiety and a therapist.
Hmm.
How was it letting go of that identity and stepping into this new identity or this new vision that we had?
Well, it was really scary at first. It was, my own inner critic was in there saying, don't do this. Like, you have to give your stuff away. You have to help everybody. And while my logical mind knows that that's not true, the work that we did together helped me to have a better argument, or a better, not even an argument, just have a, this is my stance when that voice comes up, which is when I help the people who are natural born leaders, they're impacting so many more people. So I have a much better reach, a much stronger impact by helping the people who are doing the work than to keep doing what I was doing, which was limping along with people who just weren't ready, who just weren't in the position. They're not high performers, or at least they're not there right now. And so that helped me to deal with that nurturer part of me who kept going, oh,
Why
but
I have to help everyone?
I have to help everybody. Right. So it really helped me to do my own work. Like you saying to me, okay, come on, let's look at this. And it pushed me into just going ahead and doing that work and
Mhm.
getting that mindset going in a direction that was more helpful. Yeah.
One of the things you mentioned was tech or taking your business online, right? If you look
Yes.
back in the 3 months together, yes, we've pivoted your business, but
Hmm.
we've also worked out a complete funnel for you. You've updated your website by
Hmm.
yourself,
Yes, I
right?
did.
That is a big
That
deal.
was painful.
You've updated your website and it looks so much better, so much more elegant, and so much deserving of your new brand.
Yes.
You have also created a complete funnel,
Yes.
an ebook, an email sequence, the landing page, all of that for it. And we've
Yes.
also worked out the outline of an outreach program for you, how to reach out to connect with other people. So,
Yes.
yes, you've got that online tech,
Yes.
you've built
Right.
it out, it's
Right.
ready to go, it's
Yes.
all
And
set.
and 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 I had been introduced to all of that, and I had made attempts by taking courses. I would take courses, and there's so much information. It was so overwhelming. And what I appreciated and what worked best for me was that we got the one-on-one. If I had a question, I got the question answered. I didn't have to search through 16 videos or go on a Facebook group and take the chance that maybe one of the 50 people that would respond would actually give me useful information. So to me, that was the biggest, one of the best values of the one-on-one, and why I made that choice was I knew I could keep spending money taking classes and doing that, but I really wanted the one-on-one. I wanted the, okay, I don't quite, I see this and I see this, how do they go together, what's the most efficient way to do this? And that's what I got from you, which I'm grateful for.
So, talking about the one-on-one work, all right, how did that feel? The pace, because I mean, honestly,
Mhm.
we covered a lot of ground in just 3 months, right? We
We did.
completely restructured your business, and
Hmm.
most of all, what I am most proud of, it's not the funnel and stuff, your website or your funnel, but what I'm most proud of is we went today when we just wrapped up our last session. You just before this recording, it felt like you'd actually stepped up into this new role, into this new vision that you were so resisting during the early days. To be able
Yes.
to, for you to step up and say, hey, you know what? I don't work with just about everyone, and I'm not interested in doing a meditation or running a yoga class for people. I work with high performers and overachievers, and I help them overcome their anxiety.
Hmm.
Right?
Yes.
That was such a
Yeah.
clear-cut statement that you made earlier.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I am feeling that more and more. I'm feeling more and more like my own empowerment. You kicking my ass to, because even you speak, because when we talk about the website, there was a week where I was almost ready to give up, that I wasn't getting the website, I wasn't moving it along as fast as we wanted it to move. And we had a conversation about, is it time to turn this over, pay a professional to do this? And I turned my own anxiety and fear around that, I used that. And by the next week, I had figured out the things that were challenging me, and I got there. And so I feel like I was my own example of this is how it works. This is why a fast pace,
Hmm.
even though it's intense, can really work for my clients as well, because it worked for me doing that with you to come on, let's
Yeah.
stay on this. But also feeling like at any moment, because there was one week where I said, okay, I did not get everything done this week. Can we push this back one week? Because you had given me that grace, one time, and I did, and that worked very well for me as well. And that was near the end. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I think so yes, you pivoted your business, you created the funnel, but also you've been reaching out to people as this new persona and with your new branding and having
Hmm.
these conversations that were really difficult at the start and I hear are getting much better.
Yes,
How does
yes.
that feel? Talking to people,
It's
positioning yourself, pitching yourself this way.
yeah. It's completely uncomfortable, and that's okay. That's what I'm recognizing. It's not meant to be comfortable, and I tell people that all the time. So my husband will joke with me when I'm having a particularly challenging day. He's like, "It really sucks to have to walk your talk, doesn't it?" When I'm feeling very uncomfortable, I'm like, "Yeah, because that's part of my work. Is we're not meant to be comfortable all the time. Um we make our biggest leaps, or we make our most evolution when we're uncomfortable. And so these calls are really uncomfortable for me, and yet I'm doing them. As a matter of fact, I'm chuckling because even yesterday I was talking to my accountant, who is new to me this year. I don't know her super well yet. But she even said to me during our conversation, I was getting copies of our tax returns, and she said, "Yeah, I keep thinking about calling you." And I'm like, "Call away." And I'm thinking, and I can charge you, and like I'm not comfortable with it, but I'm getting okay with it. It's getting easier. I don't know that it'll ever be easy for me, but it is getting easier. And it's the same thing as with anything. You just got to practice it. Got to practice. I got to make myself do it.
And it's embodying that that change of perspective that it's not selling, it's not about marketing, it's not about cold pitching someone, it's not about forcing someone to sign up or tricking someone
Hmm.
to sign up with you, but it's
Yeah.
about showing up in support, right? It's about
Yes.
helping them, leading them, guiding them, and
Yes.
supporting them to make the most powerful decision for themselves.
Yes. Yes. And that's what, and it's really helpful to me, because there's been times where I just don't talk when things are going on, because I hear people's anxious language all the time. Um,
Mhm.
and so often I just like, well, it's none of my business, and I'm just gonna, that's their thing. And now it's like, no, if I hear it, I'm gonna say something about it, and I'm gonna be
It's okay, I
unattached.
can help you.
I'm unattached. Yeah, I mean, I can say I can help you, but just um, being willing to just say, this is how I see it, and if that's helpful to you, that's great. And not being attached to where that goes or anything. That's been very freeing in all of this. Yeah.
And I remember practicing those discovery calls, right? Going through
Yeah.
how you'd approach a discovery call and the first couple of calls, and then having the first, I'm forgetting the number, but first two or three people sign up for your package, for the 1 month
Hmm.
package. Whereas earlier when we had started, I remember you telling me that people sign up for single sessions and not for the packages.
Hmm.
How
Yeah.
did that
And
start?
now, it feels really good. It feels simplified. That's probably the best way I can describe it. And that I appreciate that. It was too complicated before. There were too many options. And so I think people defaulted to the single session because I didn't know how to say to them, this is what I have to offer. And so now that I have a better sense of that and how to keep it simple so that they have two choices, that's making my life a whole lot easier. And
Two simple
it's
packages,
making
that's
their
all.
lives easier too, right? It's making their lives easier too. They don't have a lot of choices that they're going to get overwhelmed with. So yeah.
Okay. So, mm, I think, okay, 1 minute. I'm going to call, I'll be back. I'll write you in 5 minutes. This is what happens. Moms
I
reporting
know.
on call during lockdown.
Mhm.
For those of you
Yeah.
watching while we're recording this on 12th of May while the whole world is in lockdown. Uh,
Yes. Yes. I'm surprised my family hasn't come because we didn't plan to do this. And I was like, I'll see you in a half an hour. I'm surprised they're not up here going, what's going on? So I totally understand.
Lynn, let me ask you that. I mean, since we are recording this at this particular time in history,
Yes.
how did the timing of this work out for you? You know, the changes that we're making in your business versus what's happening in the world and what's the added
It
pressure
could
at
it
home.
actually the timing was actually worked out really well. We had started just before all like we didn't know this was happening when we started. So I was
Yeah.
already in in the evolution of my business when this all went down. And it actually worked really well for me because it gave me focus. It gave me we worked really intensely. I had a lot of work to do in between our sessions, and that kept me sane. That kept me focused. And part of what kept me focused was knowing that I have all of this experience, all of this expertise, all of these skills to share with people at a time when we're all experiencing anxiety, every single person on this planet. And for the people who their their life's purpose is to help other people, I can support that. I can be there. I can help people deal with their lifelong anxiety as well as the what's happening with this whole COVID-19, and get my goal is to get people back on track, as quickly as possible as we begin these phases of what's to come, because there's still a lot of uncertainty and people are going to have to deal with their anxiety and how to turn it into something that really works for them instead of against them. Yeah, so it was, and I don't use the word perfect, there's really no perfect, but in some ways it was the best timing because this is getting me online, it's getting me the it's giving me the ability to reach even more people. So yeah.
And you can see me grinning ear to ear, right? Because there was a time when you wouldn't have. I remember the early calls when I told you you have to start showing up on Facebook. You have to do a couple of Facebook lives, right? And
Right.
here you
And
are
I
on this
would have to go,
call,
find my box of tissues because
right? And here you are talking about it freely and passionately.
yes.
That is a big
Yes.
achievement.
Yeah, it is. And I can acknowledge that and I appreciate it. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
big.
You've come a long way.
Whew,
And not
I
all of
have.
those ways are tangible, right?
Mm-mm.
Or all of the changes
Yeah.
that you may not, I don't know if you see it as clearly as I do, but you are a different person from when we started.
I am.
It's
I
not just
am.
about your website or your funnel or your new packages, right?
Mm-mm.
It's about
Yeah.
how you see yourself.
Right. It's about even allowing myself to be recorded here today with you with no makeup on. And I'm just going to say it because this is right. And this is what we talked about. This is I find that if I just say what it is, then it takes the anxiety doesn't have a chance. So right now, my anxiety doesn't have a chance with me because I'm going to tell anybody who's watching this, I'm still in my pajamas. There we said it. Right.
I,
Right. Right. Right.
yeah, no makeup. This is
Right,
how we
casual, we're casual.
are.
And I think that's been a benefit to everybody being quote unquote stuck at home is we're starting to get more real. We're starting to just say, look, it's not how I look it's going to make a difference. It's the connection that we're making and what I can share with you and what work you're willing to do. That's going to make a difference. Not whether I color my hair or whether I haven't had a haircut or any of that stuff, right?
Okay. So, Tara, okay, let me ask you one more thing.
Mhm,
And feel free to be, I mean, please be open and honest about this.
mhm.
What, if at all, anything would you have liked to change about our work together? Is there something that you would have liked to seen done differently?
Hmm. The only thing that I found that challenged me was we had some of our own tech issues or communication
Yeah,
issues, and but we figured
Zoom
it out. And
links.
actually, yeah, the sometimes the Google links and some things. But what actually, as much as I would say that I would like for that to have been different, again, it was an opportunity, um, because I've actually taken what we learned about the Google Docs and communicating, and I've worked with my own clients to say, okay, if this isn't working, here's another way. Like, here's an alternative way, and let's have it even a third alternative way, because I'm finding that my clients are benefiting from I call it my ACE, my accountability check-in email, and they're benefiting from it. I know I benefited from the communication in between when I could ask a question, and so we worked it out. As much as I would have liked it to have not happened in the first place, it gave both of us the chance to work it out, as well as I'm now it takes me to a different level with my clients and being available to them. So that was really, that was the only glitchy thing that I can think of. Otherwise, there were times, if you had asked me halfway through, I'd have been like, stop giving me so much stuff to do. And I'd have been whiny about it. But in the end, being on this end, I'm so glad, because I made so much progress
Yeah.
in that
And
time.
I remember every single week I'd ask you to either write a particular page or a couple of pages for your website, or a couple of emails, or a couple of Facebook posts. And we'd get on the call and I would review them, and tell you, this is how you need to rewrite it, or this is how you need to
Mm-hmm.
phrase it. And that was
Mm-hmm.
just so much copy. It was just so much content, right, in between. But then
Yes.
writing all of that content, writing all of that copy was, I think, in my experience, that's the best way to help
Oh,
it,
absolutely.
help you anchor in all of those things. I could tell you
Yes.
that this is how you should do it in theory, but unless you do it,
Yes.
it doesn't seep in.
Yes.
You would have defaulted to your old ways of
Yes.
communicating or showing up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I shared with you earlier that I moved to my office last week, so things got out of, and I got out of my habit, because I was tending to that. And yesterday's Facebook post got what I call dialed in, and it showed, and it just really reminded me that, now that we're not going to be working together regularly, I have to have that structure in place for myself, because it pays off. I had been getting a lot of engagement, in my Facebook post, and dialing it in yesterday definitely didn't work. So yes, sticking to the writing, making that sacred time, that I can continue that work of getting the writing and staying on target definitely was very valuable to me.
And now, coming out at the other end and having gone through the intense workout period with me, is there what do you think is the most important thing people should know about working with me? Those who are still deciding, or those who are trying to figure if I'm the right
Yeah.
person for them to work with? What's your take on
Um, listen to Richa. She knows what she's doing, and don't fight her.
that?
You can ask her questions because she has answers. But don't fight her. Yeah, no, definitely. If you want to work with someone who knows the steps and can take you through them in a very logical manner, but who's going to push you, to get the maximum out of the minimum amount of time, Reaches your girl. Reaches your woman. She's not a girl. She's a she's
Thank
she's
you.
she's an empowered woman who knows her shit.
Thank you. I really appreciate
You're
that,
welcome.
girl to woman.
Yeah, no, definitely,
I'm a
definitely.
raging feminist and I hate being called girl. So
I as soon as it came out of my mouth, I was like, nope, that's not going to work.
that's, I think, the list of questions I had. Is there anything
Okay.
else you want to add, Lynn?
Gosh, I don't know. We just covered a lot of ground in a short amount of time, which is what it was like working with you. So, and I appreciate that. It met my expectations, and it met my pace. Because I do,
Mhm.
and given everything else, that's how I like to work. I like to get things done, and we made a lot of changes in a short period of time. So yes, thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for joining me for this call. I'm just going to stop